LEGO Ninjago has had a long series of media since 2011, with a plethora of LEGO sets, TV show reboots, and an original series that has over 15 seasons, as well as that movie. But something many forgot about, and a few of us have written into our core memories, is the original Flash games. Or you may know them as the web games, and there's a few mobile games and a couple different titles too. They are considered non-canon and created pretty hastily to boost the general interest of Ninjago to kids. Younger me had no idea of the influence these would have on my brain. I had the chance to replay all of these Ninjago Flash games and web games, originally found on either the Cartoon Network or LEGO websites, plus some extra little bonuses. But almost all of them have been removed. And at the end of this video, I'll show you where to find them all. Make sure to stick around and see them for yourself. A lot of these games are very brief and minor, often created to boost general interest and push new LEGO sets to kids. Some of them do coincide with the series as well. They are not fully fledged games like the one we got for the movie or the other DS and some of the other mobile games. These are purely random and niche, and keep in mind, free. Back when they was first available, you sort of stumbled across them on your own. I don't even remember the thought process of how 9-year-old me found them. I have a lot of core memories of the LEGO series that are now either forgotten by LEGO or completely abandoned. Like, do you remember LEGO Bionicle, LEGO Chima, LEGO Power Miners, that one Flash game where you build your own LEGO island, and this movie right here? But now, instead of pursuing their pre-existing original identity, original storylines, giving fans actually what made them so loved in the first place, LEGO now caters to a more commercial, generalized, corporation-based mainstream media slot and just forget about its original series. Like, they don't even know what that is anymore. They need more Disney collabs, obviously. Anyway, it's time to visit these forgotten LEGO games and remember that LEGO once did care about creating something original and having an interesting identity. Some of these games in this video were exclusive to certain countries around the world, and many of them aren't recognized on the official Ninjago wiki. Here's a list of the ones on the wiki versus the ones that you will hear in this video. Now, I also want you to keep in mind, since many of these games have been pulled entirely of its original official sources, it's only available through third-party means. I couldn't find the official release dates for some of them online, so I have tried my best to piece this history together in the correct order to give you the complete timeline of lost Ninjago games. But first, a quick disclaimer, we are about to go through a lot of games here. Some will have more time dedicated to them than others, depending on its depth and overall what I felt was noteworthy about the game. Some are glitchy and unplayable too, so some will have a matter of seconds and some will have minutes. Some good games will also have little time spent on them as well, simply because there isn't the most to say. It does vary a lot, so watch this video with a grain of salt. With that being said, thank you for watching, and it's time to grab some snacks and enjoy the forgotten history of Ninjago games. Back in January 2011, the world was introduced to the beloved series of LEGO Ninjago. Its success was so great, it sold so many LEGO sets that same year, and alongside this was 6 Flash games in 2011 alone, free to play for everyone on the LEGO website. The original Flash web games were pretty simplistic by nature, but we can also give it the benefit of the doubt, considering this was purely an interactive advertisement for low-spec PCs at the time for kids. So with that in mind, let's travel back in time and begin with the very first Ninjago exposure to the world, the Spinjitzu Smash series and its many sequels. Simple by nature, but appealing nonetheless, Spinjitzu Smash displays pretty well the unique characters of Ninjago and prove their individual identities in a way that kids can understand. Blue, red, black, white. That is all you need to know, each having their own respective elemental powers of lightning, fire, earth and ice. You'll be surprised that being the first of this series, you'll notice this game has a little more depth and care into its mechanics and gameplay compared to many later titles. That doesn't mean it's the best, it just means it features more things to like because more effort and care was put into it. Remember, it was created as a way to pull attraction for newcomers to the series and get them interested, rather than the later entries that you'll notice toward the end of the video that are there to just kind of occupy fans, and they lack essentially everything that makes a game appealing and great. Not all of them, you'll see later. Now, the game itself, the menu's pretty simple, but it shows everything. It has Sensei Wu, the ninja's teacher, inside of the monastery training grounds where you can first select between story mode, weapon library, deck builder, or in the middle of a secret code poll. Inputting secret codes can give you extra coins, weapons and money. The weapon library gives you a deeper look into each character's signature weapons by completing levels, entering codes, which allows you to customize. The gameplay consists of a playing field of 6x3 tiles, but only half the battlefield is accessible to you, the other half is enemy territory. You build a deck or use pre-made decks of cards which are your moves. These moves are structured around the tiles on the playing field, and only enemies positioned in specific tiles will be affected by your attacks, and the same goes back to you. If that doesn't make sense, just look at the screen. It's fairly simple by nature, but a little addictive too. You have the ability to freely avoid enemy attacks while simultaneously trying to time yours to reach them in their current position before they move. So it feels like it's turn-based, but it's very active at the same time. It's not turn-based. Some attacks are long-ranged, there's time attacks, short-range attacks, and some cards boost attack, defense, health boosts. You have complete control over your deck, and you unlock new abilities as you progress through the levels. This is the core groundwork for the Spinjitzu Smash series and its many sequels, so remember this gameplay concept when I discuss the next couple of games, just so I don't have to repeat myself. However, those games do tweak the recipe a little bit, so stick around to find out how. One big reason I think this game stands out of all of them is that all 4 characters have a different storyline here, featuring different levels each time around. The main plot story is to retrieve all 4 golden elemental weapons from the skeleton army leader Samukai. Kai's campaign begins in a search for the Sword of Fire, but skeletons attack a nearby village. The skeletons are also in search of it, and in the village is a woman who's a friend of Master Wu. She guides Kai to find the vase of a blind monkey and take it to the Pool of Serenity. Once poured into the water, a path to the ancient fire temple appears in the mist. Once Kai fights through the hordes of skeletons and breaches into the fire temple, under the altar waits a Sword of Fire, but protecting it is an elemental fire dragon named Flame. Cole's campaign begins with a friend of Master Wu asking for the ninja's help. His daughter has been kidnapped, so Cole goes to investigate and discovers the skeleton army kidnapped her and took her to the Caves of Despair. After fighting through armies of skeletons and finding the Scythe of Quakes, he must defeat the elemental earth dragon named Rocky to save the kidnapped girl and bring her home. Zane's campaign begins with Samukai searching for the ice shurikens. Zane had a dream the other night. In the dream there was a place called Glacier Island, and the residents there know where to find the shurikens of ice. It can only be found by boat, and in the dream, Zane saw skeletons slipping through the waves in kayaks, so Jay and Zane team up together to stop the skeletons from attacking the village on Glacier Island. After they save the village, the residents direct Zane through the ice fortress and into the Valley of Ice Crystals, which holds the shurikens of ice, which is being guarded by the elemental ice dragon Shard. Only after defeating it may Zane leave with the golden ice shurikens. The final of the 4, Jay's campaign begins with him building a hot air balloon to impress Nia, but also to take it to the Sky Temple, where he will recover the nunchucks of lightning. Jay beats a lot of waves of skeletons trying to flirt and impress with Nia, but he takes her with him to the Sky Temple, and the skeletons are guarding it there, trying to shoot the 2 down. During the fight, Jay notices above him the big kahuna in the clouds. The very top of the Sky Temple is the nunchucks of lightning, guarded by an elemental lightning dragon, Wisp. Finally, after you finish all 4 campaigns, a secret final mission is unlocked. After the ninjas have trained their abilities and fought past each respective elemental dragon, now they must defeat Samukai, the leader of the Skulking army, who is in possession of all 4 golden weapons. Finding him is difficult through the toughest and darkest soldiers of the Skulking army, and after much persistence, the ninjas catch up to him and defeat him, successfully retrieving the 4 golden weapons and saving Ninjago. For a very first title, in a time where Ninjago was not a LEGO icon, merely a new experiment, a new idea, this game stood out to new fans, and the campaign is quite a few hours long. It had a larger lasting impact than any other Ninjago game that came after it, and honestly, not a single other game in this entire video had the depth and story as the Spinjitzu Smash series have reached, which is why I focused so much of this video on just this title alone. It kickstarted the series in such an amazing way and is partly responsible for why it was so loved in the very beginning. And following Spinjitzu Smash was the newer version, Spinjitzu Smash DX, that released later that same year, an upgraded, more tweaked and refined version of the original title, and releasing after the pilot episodes of the TV series. So the plotline in this game is a continuation of the first title, but has been tweaked to coincide a little more with the series story, closely following the original 4 pilot episodes with the Weapons of Destiny. Now, rather than 4 storylines, one for each character, it has one storyline across all 4 characters. Tying this game to the series gives you a deeper connection, helping you feel like you are part of the episodes, incentivizing you further to explore the series, as these games were intended to do so. It is the perfect idea for kids who are discovering Ninjago. The story follows the ninja's journey to save Kai's kidnapped sister, Nia, which is also the reason he became a ninja in the first place. The ninjas train and fight through the skulking army across Ninjago and invading into their home base in the underworld. These also get pretty challenging. A lot of this game's setting is described by the ninjas in the opening of each level. It serves enough to give your imagination the wiggle room to interpret the setting on your own, much similar to Dungeons and Dragons. The OST is not bad either. The enemies aren't limited to just the skeleton army this time. Quickly in the game, as the ninjas progress, they encounter strong enemies in the underworld, like water spiders, the darkest forces of the skulking army. There's teleporting wizards and healing mages, strong generals and soldiers. In order to find Nia, the ninjas must travel by dragon from the land of Ninjago over to the dark forces of the underworld and find the Shrine of Revolution. There lies a spirit guide to help find Nia. When Kai focuses his energy into his purpose, he receives a spirit guide. His father appears before him, who died a long time ago, leaving Kai and Nia as orphans. He guides Kai to head through the passages south, but an evil awaits there. Garmadon has kidnapped Nia because she was guarding the Sword of Fire, one of the 4 golden elemental weapons. Samurai was following the ninja, knowing they would lead him to the girl and the golden weapons. He stole them from Spikor, an evil monster who wants to destroy anything from the world above, and now he will give them to Lord Garmadon himself. Samurai accidentally opens a vortex with the weapons that allowed Garmadon to escape his ghastly resting place. He says they will soon get strong enough to wield all 4 weapons. Unfortunately, my game locked here, and no matter how many resets I gave it, it wouldn't progress past this scene. A lot of this sequel is similar to the original, but a few things were tweaked. The core elements remain, the deck building and weapons are expanded a little, and the biggest change is the story mode. It serves as a slightly more relevant and overall better or cleaner version of Spinjitzu Smash. Now it's time for something else. Finally, we get to see a new type of game for Ninjago, but unfortunately, it's more like a small series of minigames rather than anything resembling a speck of depth. All 4 ninjas have their own respective levels, but there is only 2 different styled levels, meaning 2 ninjas share the same mode with a different face. There's Fire Dash, you've just got to move your mouse left and right while playing as Kai to avoid the flaming sparks. Rocky Road, you're just jumping from ledge to ledge, climbing higher up a cliff to see how high you can get. Slippery Slope, exactly the same as Cole's level, but this time you're Zane jumping across icy ledges. And Flash Dance, exactly the same as Kai's level, except this time it's blue and not red, avoiding electricity sparks and not fireballs. Sadly, this game is as deep as solo leveling, which means it's time to return back to one which is actually pretty good. And I say one, but I'm going to combine these 2 together. There's Smash Creations, a special alternative version of the original Spinjitzu Smash. In this version, you fight against the Skulkin, the Skeleton Army, except with the twist you can completely customize your cards and abilities and effects, as well as creating your own personal ninja. And I'm mixing it with Spinjitzu Smash Party. You thought this series was over and done with by now, but spoiler alert, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. The Smash series is still ongoing, and this one is more like a sequel to the special version, Smash Creations. In this version, you have all of the same customizable features of creating your own decks and characters, except this time you can also create your own levels. That's about it. I won't focus on this one too much because it's not that different. So moving on to where this video actually begins to get interesting here. The strangest thing about 2011 for LEGO Ninjago is that they created a web game that released for South Korea only. It was very different to the games America or Europe was given on the LEGO website, and it was created not to promote the series or expand some LEGO lore or give you a deeper feel into the show, purely to promote a specific LEGO set that released in South Korea. When you open the game, you are blasted with a blatant ad for the Lego set. Granted, it's a very cool ad. I do miss these Lego ads. They had an awesome charm that's absent nowadays for Lego, so I'll just let it play out for a second. But in favour of this title, it is very different to the rest so far. This game focuses on only Zane being the sole playable character. You use the keypad to move Zane side to side and tap the A key to throw his shurikens toward the Skullkin army. If they get too close, they can knock down your life icons, and you have 3 in total. You die when you lose them all. Zane can get some small power-ups along the way to halt the oncoming attacks who can arrive in their Lego vehicles. The more enemies you take down and coins you collect, you can charge your power bar, and you can unleash Zane's Ice Dragon attack and wipe all enemies off the field. This is maybe something that was confused through translation, but every level has a certain amount of missions, but one mission equates to just one enemy kill. The level ends when all missions are complete, and there's a total of 6 levels, and it kind of just ends. Moving into 2012, where big money moves came into play, and with the official release of the few episodes of Season 1 at the end of 2011, it tracked popularity fast. The ninjas became so iconic, and the villains of this season, the Snake Tribe, were actually interesting and ominous villains that seemed capable of trifling over the ninjas, which started off this season strong. The season would become focused around stopping the Snake Tribe from rebelling against the humans that locked them away underground many years ago, and putting a stop to their attempts of combining the 4 tribes who have long been at war with each other. The ninjas would train and discover themselves to unlock their true potential, whilst also discovering the prophesied secrets of the Green Ninja. There was a lot to unpack throughout the first season in 2012, and that also means there's a lot of good games to unpack too. Now, Ninjago does keep up the Smash series, and it doesn't make many attempts to truly reinvent itself, yet it does continue what was already a strong basis of Spinjitzu Smash with a new sequel, Viper Smash, focusing the story on the events of Season 1 of the TV show. The core gameplay is almost identical to the others, and the only main difference is the events of the story that co-align with the events of Season 1. The overall mechanics are actually smoother, and you can queue when to attack instead of spamming, which is, that is just amazing. You can also attack with a sword in this title, not only the kunai. The monastery is the home again, Sensei Wood is the guide like in all the others, the card deck and weapon shop is present too, just updated. However, I could only play as Kai, because the other characters were locked for the LEGO website, which isn't available anymore. So the full game is no longer accessible. Jay is also a very flirty, obnoxious guy in this version, like he is in the other games. Very glad they rewrote this character in the TV show. I won't focus much on the story itself since it's just so similar to the TV series fighting the Snake Tribes, and we've got a lot to get through, so let's move on. And next up, you guessed it, an updated and more tweaked version, Viper Smash ZX. I can say now that this truly is the final entry in the Smash series, and you'll start seeing some various titles coming soon, so stick around. Also, if you have made it this far, consider subscribing to support me and my channel so you can see more videos like this in the future. Viper Smash follows the themes of the first season, which by this point of release, the second season had nearly concluded. The finale was beginning and only 2 episodes remained, releasing Viper Smash ZX at the most opportune time when popularity was at its peak, giving kids a chance to tune into the games whilst waiting patiently for the finale to drop, keeping kids hooked while they waited for the ultimate Spinjitzu master. This game was the entry point for many fans because of its timed release. Unfortunately, I was not able to play it or find it anywhere on the internet. I did, however, stumble across one of the developers of Viper Smash ZX, and he was also responsible for many of the other Spinjitzu Smash games. He had lost the original source code and he was looking for it. He posted on Reddit asking if anyone had the saved files for him to rebuild it, and he hit a dead end. He also tried contacting old colleagues who worked on the game, but the company was bought out and LEGO had moved on, so he was unsuccessful. Definitely seems like this game is forever lost to time, unless some little kid somewhere downloaded these game files on his hard drive and forgot about it. Let's hope one day it can be recovered. This footage is coming from a video on YouTube about the game when it was available on the LEGO website, so big ups this guy from 2012 for preserving what would have been lost media. We finally begin a new stylized format of Ninjago games. Spinjitzu had been the key to the show since the very beginning, but you haven't actually been able to properly utilize it. Until now, in the 9th entry, Spinjitzu Spinball Snake Invasion, big name, resembles Beyblade-like aspects, which is exactly what I associated Spinjitzu with as a kid, like many others did. The similarities are hard to ignore. You pick between 4 elemental clans to begin your journey. Most of this game is also unrecoverable and locked away in the LEGO website, which has since become completely scrubbed. But I was able to find one source location to play part of this game. It's a puzzle-like game where you use your Spinjitzu powers to knock enemies into holes and reach the target goal, but you have a limited number of spins, so you have to think carefully. I really struggled with this game, trying to figure out how the teleporting holes worked, and the puzzles were tricky, but it was a nice puzzling change of pace to the games we had so far. I'm going to mix these next 2 titles together since they're basically the same thing. Energy Sphere and Energy Spinner Battle 2 are both Korean exclusive Beyblade-esque minigames where you actually play as the spinners that you could buy. Something very rare for Ninjago, since one of the main selling points in the LEGO toys are the spinners, but are hardly seen in any media. Energy Sphere has an amazing badass art of the potential unlocked forms of Kai, Jay, Cole, and not Zane. However, in the game, they are the basic figures. Every level you unlock more LEGO parts for your spinner, getting stronger, and you can fight more of the Serpentine army, but bro, the controls are so sensitive, like you fall off the map so easy. Energy Spinner Battle 2 is closer based on Season 2 and has a different look, but its elements are the same, just a little less sensitive and has Samurai X as a playable character. Overall, I'm happy that these spinners get some light shined on them. As an arcade style title, the Dragon Battle isn't half bad. It is another Korean title, however I played this quite a bit more than the others. The core elements are very simple. Pick up elemental power, more pew 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 pew, finish level pew pew pew, boss fight, mega pew 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 pew. You get the picture, you go pew pew. In between each level has the awesome Ninjago theme, but in Korean that goes undeniably hard. This shit is amazing. There's a lot of missions, it's addictive and it's enjoyable. Following up with another puzzle style game, here we go with a German title, Snake Tribes. Snakes from each of the 4 tribes will appear on the screen and you have to place them within the correct category of their tribe. If you take too long, the snakes will crowd up the screen and you lose. That's it. Next up is Fangs of Fire. From this next title, from what I can gather, it's a timed round game where you collect coins across the screen and avoid attacks from snakes. But the screen is cut by this tiny square that you just can't move. It feels so claustrophobic. I think it was just a hastily made game amongst the plethora of games during this year, so that's all I have to say. This next one surprised me a little bit. I'm not usually a fan of card games, but Ninjago Cards Duel was enjoyable. And let's mention this epic music, right? I don't know about you, I've never heard this Ninjago song in any media before, and it seems too good to only be from this game. Not to mention a fully vocally English song sung in a German exclusive game. Please tell me where this comes from. Anyway, if you've ever played Top Trumps, this is a little similar. Each card will have 4 attributes: speed, humor, strength, and strategy. Each round will be announced which attribute will be chosen for battle, and you must pick your strongest card of that attribute from your selected deck. If you chose a card stronger than your opponent's attribute, you win the round and move on. The cards are a series of characters from the TV show, and it's a nice throwback to see so many characters. Once you win the game, you take your opponent's card from the rounds you won, so you can expand your deck and move on to the next challenger. However, every single round you lose that card forever, so choose wisely. I was pleasantly surprised with how this one played out and found myself enjoying replaying it quite a lot. And just again, that song is so fire. I think that Spinjitzu Snakedown is one that shines through the rest of the Ninjago games. It's still loosely based on the events of Season 1 and follows its own style of gameplay that differs from all the others we've seen so far. It's more like a traditional beat-em-up side-scroller with some cool combos, aerial attacks. There's teapots that you can collect, and it gives you energy that you can use for elemental attacks, powerful special moves, combining the Spinjitzu of all 4 elemental ninjas. Its story is fairly basic, but this game focuses more on fun gameplay mechanics and interesting fights, rather than a centered story, and is pretty good considering its purpose of existence. The best part of this game is the final boss. After completing 6 levels against waves of snake tribes in the land of Ninjago, you get sucked into a portal to the underworld, where Lord Garmadon awaits the final battle. He isn't just another enemy or a stronger enemy, he's genuinely a final boss worthy of Garmadon's reputation. He has a lot of various movesets and abilities displaying his raw power that you'll see from the TV series. It feels like most of the budget of this game was spent on this fight alone, and feels like an enemy that can rival you, the player. This game has the most complex fighting mechanics in any Ninjago game so far, and with so many of the Snake Tribe fights, it becomes spammy and repetitive. But this Garmadon fight changes that, because he too has a large range of abilities and the fight does keep you on your toes. If you're patient and focused, it isn't too difficult. But it is pretty cool, to be honest. It's one of the better Ninjago games and one of the better ones from the early days, and a great way to finish 2012. Also, nice Ninja Turtles reference at the end here. But it doesn't finish off the saga just yet. That goes to the most ambitious title so far, just 3 months later at the beginning of 2013 with LEGO Ninjago The Final Battle. But don't get it confused with Ninjago Final Battle. This is probably one of the worst games in the whole series, so I'll be quick. You fight snakes, it has poor controls, it's super hard to defeat just one snake, that's it. I'm pretty sure this is a bootleg fan-made title because of the game's quality and the website at the bottom, which doesn't exist now and it tries to give me a virus. I came across quite a few of these games, and I will not include it anymore in this video. I just wanted to mention that they do exist, and I wanted to show how bad this one was. But anyway, moving on to a game which is perhaps in the top 3, or maybe top 5 of this entire video. The first game of 2013, LEGO Ninjago The Final Battle. The epic, long-awaited finale of Season 2 ended, Lloyd had become the ultimate Spinjitzu master and unleashed his golden powers to stop Garmadon. The hype was real, and months later, LEGO Ninjago The Final Battle released in March 2013 and let everyone relive the epic finale of the Golden Ninja. It is the very first game where Lloyd is a playable character, and it's one of the best games in the whole series. The core gameplay elements are great, and the locations are all from iconic scenes from the first 2 seasons of the show. There's the Mountains of Impossible Height where the monastery was first shown at the very beginning, the Frozen Wastelands, the resting place of the Shurikens of Ice and Ice Dragon from the pilot episodes, the lost city of Aurora Boreas, the snake city that Pythor went to great efforts to find and uncover its secrets, the Caves of Despair, which is the resting place of the Scythe of Quakes and the Earth Dragon, Lloyd's Treehouse Fortress from the first few episodes of Season 1, where he commanded the Hypnobrite to build him a villainous lair back when he was a troubled kid, and finally, the Temple of Light, found on the dark island hidden atop its mountains, found only by the special medallion and a hideout for the first Spinjitzu master during the war. Taking these deeply rooted locations of the show as a setting for the game fostered a stronger connection immediately and acts as a great wrap-up for the first 2 seasons. You start the game as Lloyd, fighting through the levels with platforming and enemies. Lloyd needs to acquire each of the 4 elements. After taking the fire element, Kai becomes playable, followed by lightning and Jay, ice and Zane, earth and Cole. You get what I'm trying to say. After getting all the elements, you can summon a bell. When it's rung, Lloyd can temporarily turn into the Golden Ninja, which is cool that the first time we get to play as Lloyd, we can play him to the full awesome extent we see him achieve within the show. He is just broken here too as the Golden Ninja, but it doesn't end there. It's also the first time we can play as Master Wu, although he is temporary to play as, much like the Golden Ninja form. One thing I do like is how when you die you actually break apart like Lego, the same way you do in the Lego games. The gameplay mostly consists of defeating enemies and getting through levels, but the music, the map, the Lego models, just everything about this game has more production quality than anything else so far. And the mechanics are fairly smooth too. Each different character has various regular attacks that have different range and movement, which keeps it fresh every time you change. I don't know why, but Lloyd and Kai, my 2 favourite characters, don't feel as satisfying as the rest, but they all offer something slightly different. It's not a mere reskin. And to affect this even more, you can earn upgrade points to upgrade damage, speed or health, and some enemies have more health than others. Also, Garmadon frequently appears, and sometimes multiple of him. Overall, the hype of Season 2 finale died down after the final battle game in March. 2013 was quite a big year for Ninjago. The season finale had piqued large interest and a continuation had to be executed correctly. LEGO took their time conceptualizing ideas for a new season that was announced on their website the previous year. but the workings were silent, and unexpectedly, October 2013 had a release trailer for Rebooted Season 3. It was a continuation of Season 2, but upped the ante with more eyes watching them, taking the ninjas into the digital age with a severe focus on Zane and Nindroids. Shortly after, a web game dropped to help promote this hyped up new season, Nindroid Swarm. When playing them one after another, Nindroid Swarm does not successfully follow up as a great game after the final battle. It's very short and simplistic and doesn't exist anymore, and nobody bothered to reserve it because, well, they couldn't. I can't acquire any footage for this either, because according to the Ninjago wiki, when Season 3 was announced, if you stayed idle on the LEGO homepage for a while, this game would just begin. Nindroids would charge onto the screen as if they've hacked your computer, and you have to smash them away. If you did this, you would unlock concept arts, and that's it. And that does it for 2013. It was a cooldown period after the highs of Season 2 finale, and only released a couple of graphic novels and LEGO sets as well. And the next season began airing in January 2014, taking us to our next web game, LEGO Ninjago Rebooted. Ninjago Rebooted was the latest game I played when I was a kid. It was available on the LEGO website and the first of many that became an app on mobile. Mobile apps have a huge surge of endless runners at this time, like Minion Rush, Temple Run, and of course Subway Surfers, just to name a few. So Ninjago took their own spin on the genre with Ninjago Rebooted to go along with their new show. Being a mobile app, it gave this game more attraction, which also required it to have more attention put into development, making this one a much better entry than the previous Nindroid Swarm and possibly the best entry in the Rebooted / the Nindroid series. Here you can play as any 4 ninjas in their new outfits and enter Borg Tower. Wu's friend, Cyrus Borg, has been possessed by the Overlord, and at the top of the tower lies the Technoblades, which can be used to free him. The gameplay itself can be fun and a little addictive. You do get checkpoints along the way and have enemies occasionally try to stop you, and you have obstacles to avoid. The running segments aren't so bad. You collect studs that give you extra powers too, but the climbing segments are a little trickier, mostly because of the confusing controls, hard to counter enemies, and obstacles flying around at random. But it is still doable, and the mega jumps make this a lot easier, so you charge your studs to make your life better. The other power-ups can be shields, magnetism, cloak device, Spinjitzu attacks, and the green ninja to blast through everything in your path. After you complete 12 checkpoints and reach the very top, the ninjas acquire the Technoblades, free Cyrus Borg from the Overlord, and then you have to chase him down and repeatedly attack him. That's it for Chapter 1, and then they enter the Digiverse in Chapter 2, and then so on. It's basically the same thing in a new area. There is also an endless mode to try to get a cool high score, so this really does become an endless runner. The next title for the rebooted saga would be Ninjago Ninjacode, which takes inspiration from the later half of the season, where the Overlord has captured Lloyd and is draining his golden ninja powers. Only the ninja and their Technoblades can save him and reboot the system. There's 3 areas with 5 levels each in Ninjago City, Borg Factory and the mainframe. The gameplay reminds me of Sonic. You travel from left to right avoiding obstacles and attacking enemies in your way, but the controls are not smooth, they're not the most fun to play, not very intuitive, or just overall boring, I guess. I got more frustrated at the poor controls than the boring levels. You can move, attack, jump and use Spinjitzu and a super attack. It's also very easy to glitch into the walls. I would play this to the end and show you if it was fun, but every level may as well be copy and paste because it feels like it anyway. Rise of the Nindroids takes inspiration from the previous title Ninjacode, and takes inspiration also from the main enemies of the rebooted season, the Nindroids. I also don't think this game is very good either. It does things differently compared to Ninjacode, but shares the same poor controls and boring gameplay in my opinion. Also with a lack of interesting story. Sensei Wu's ambushed by the Nindroid army and you have to save him. Pixel guides you through the game, but it's very low quality platforming, low quality enemies, and just feels so dull and empty. But one thing that is cool is how you swap between characters in the levels depending on the platforming puzzles ahead. Each ninja has a slightly different ability, but past that, it's empty. A final game to finish off the Nindroid saga is a weird one that's a German exclusive game, this being Nindroids Alert. This is all the game is. 4 ninjas stand back to back with an army of Nindroids attacking them, set in the final fights of Season 3, just before the finale. There's not much else you can say about this, it's all in German and you climb the levels until it ends and you die. So it's time to jump into 2015 with Season 4, focusing on Master Chen and the Tournament of Elements. The world was saved, but it's lost its greatest defenders, and they entered a mysterious Tournament of Elements in hopes to find Zane after hearing a rumour he's alive, leading the group into the hands of Master Chen. The first game of this year would be in Master Chen's tournament and challenges, which is Ninjago Ninjaday. You've got to collect the lost Jade Blades and avoid obstacles. You're constantly running in this game and you can jump or slide to avoid the obstacles and not lose any lives. Honestly, it's not the worst. It can be fun to try to get far, and the controls are somewhat smooth, but there's not much else to say. Fortunately, the next game has a bit more going for it. Legendary Ninja Battles begins with some character dialogue, making it immediately feel like it's been pulled from the show, something the rest of these games lacked. They talk about certain events from the show to set up the concept of this game. There is a mission for each ninja and they all have a boss fight. The levels are short and have a few enemies, but the main focus is each level's boss fight. Kai fights a fire dragon by lighting each fire totem and attacking the dragon's head. Cole fights against pirates and the boss No-Eyed Pete, using cannonballs when he's vulnerable. Jay fights a Fang robot in his jet. This one is actually pretty cool, to be fair. You fly through the sky fighting the snake tribes and their helicopters whilst battling a giant robot in 3 separate battles. Pretty cool, to be honest. Next up is Lloyd versus the Overlord. Lloyd has to climb up a large tower filled with a stone army, and at the top, he became the ultimate Spinjitzu master and fights the Overlord in a battle in the sky with similar mechanics to Jay's jet fight. This one's my favourite. Then finally, we have Zane versus the Leviathan. On the island where his father was exiled, Zane must travel across boats and defeat the angered Leviathan. It will poke its head out of the water occasionally and shoot man-eating starfish. This level was the hardest of them all. I got very low life, but it's still doable. And that ends Legendary Ninja Battles. Not one of the better games in this video, but not the worst by far, but it was also a nice throwback to Season 2. Ninjago Rush at first glance seems like it'll have a lot to do. It shows off with an epic opening menu and a lot of missions, but I couldn't get very far. It's much similar to the other games in this video, but it was way too buggy and glitchy to play. The issue of having so many games release in quick succession is that they will all not be of high quality, and they will not be optimized very well. And since there are many other web games like this one, you're not missing out. There's so much more, but in each level you collect the Jade Blades, continue to the next levels, and in the end you compete in a tournament. Master Chen's Labyrinth is another German exclusive that is set in the underground caves of Chen's secret island during the Tournament of Elements. They expand on the ideas already present in the show. Unfortunately, it's very simplistic and you can only play as Lloyd or Kai. It's just walking and avoiding traps, to be honest. There is 18 levels in total and I didn't even want to get to the end of this, mostly because when you die you have to restart from the very first round, and I'm just not doing that. Like, look how easy it is to die here. Maybe a little German 8-year-old is having his mind blown for this, but for me it's another weak entry. Another German title that acts as a sequel to Master Chen's Labyrinth, using the same engine to create more competitive experience. You get to play as either Lloyd or Kai in these 4 games, which is just running around trying not to fall and make your opponent fall before you. It's just that. At least the opponents are other elemental masters from the TV series, which was a nice touch, but it's repetitive, boring, and does not give me much reason to keep playing. Yet the next game is also ever so similar. Ninjago Possession is an interesting take compared to Ninjago Rush. The same core principles, except this time based around Season 5 and the conflicts with Morro. Along each mission are collectibles to find and give some replayability. I wish I could discuss this more because it seems like it actually does have potential, but my game kept crashing again and again and again. And my PC may be old, but it can still run some modern games, so... In another German exclusive title available with tilt controls on mobile, which is random, is Morro Attacks. What's cool about this title is that even though the German sounds comically unserious, it does have full voice acting. I just wish I could understand it, but from my context, Morro has returned. Morro being the master of wind, he's trying to take down the ninjas on board the bounty and topple them off the side, so you have to control the ship by pressing left and right to keep them on board. You have 9 lives, and you lose once every ninja is defeated. Sometimes Morro will attack the ship directly, and only the ship can withstand the attack, so a good timed defend will put up a shield and continue the game. You can hit Morro and defeat him, but you have to practice a lot to keep your balance before that can happen. In Fallen Ninja, you must collect the Airjitsu scrolls to unlock new ninjas to play. You can only begin with Kai or Nia. The gameplay is too straightforward. You travel up tower walls and collect scrolls to stop Morro. There are traps that can get in your way, but obstacles you can take advantage of as well. You only tap the spacebar repeatedly, and the lack of controls makes it difficult to pick up these scrolls. It's mostly luck, and by the time you unlock just one other ninja, you're tired of hearing your spacebar tap again and again and again. Entering 2016 was a great move for LEGO as Ninjago shifted its previous action-packed season into a more centered story of emotional character progression for Jay and Nia, and a great antagonist of Nadokon. Linking back to the history of Ninjago, but also back to the pirate crew from Season 1, making Ninjago feel more alive with richer world building and story. This year's games took heavy inspiration from the TV series, and for the better. 2016 didn't feature the most games, but it did try to do things differently, which deserves some respect. Rescue from Djinjago. I thought Nadokon as a villain was great, and this season felt so unique in its execution that it really shines to me. I love that Rescue from Djinjago pulls directly from the story's finale of this season and lets you play it out. But don't forget, this is also another German game, so a lot of its exposition and story will be lost playing it. However, I'll fill in the blanks. Nia has been captured by Nadokon and due to be wed in his stolen land of Djinjago on board the flying pirate fortress. Jay, being the only ninja survivor and the main character of this season, has to save her before Nadokon takes her for himself in order to gain his genetic powers of infinite wishes. The gameplay consists of simplistic cartoonist art style and a platform style game where you have to reach the end of each level as fast as possible, but along the way are traps and Nadokon's forces. There's 22 levels in total, which gets increasingly more difficult, and you get ranks based on your speed and total coins found in the level. Now, many of you was probably waiting for this one, and I gotta tell you, it's perhaps one of the most loved games in the entire series, including the DS games, the console games, the mobile games. It's so widely loved, and I need to see why. I've been playing 95% of these games blind, so remember, it's just my initial opinion as a fan. Now, Jay fans especially will be so happy to hear, because not only was he the star of this amazing season, he's also the star of what I think is safe to say the best Ninjago game. There's so much to love about this title. Its story is pulled directly from the season's finale, except executed far better than Rescue from Djinjago. The levels are so fun and unique. This is like no other Ninjago game. This is a stealth game. I know that might be shocking to you. A Ninjago game about stealth, ninjas. That's preposterous, I know. Well, you better believe it, because it's actually here and it's amazing. Simply put, the levels are themed of Jay's siege into Nadokon's territory, and plays on the events of him retrieving the Widow's venom, as it's the only thing that can hurt a Jin. But on the way, he must face a lot of Nadokon's minions and his high esteemed crewmates. Jay can collect studs to purchase new items to help him in his missions, and these items change the gameplay a lot and unlock new areas, but you can only choose 2 at a time. The correct items can aid you in finding secret passages or fighting enemies, and some can help with not being detected. Usually you hide behind crates or obstructions and strike enemies from behind, but they can set off alarms and Jay can set them off too if you're not careful. Yes, this game actually has story. It's not another mini game fest. You have to find and collect enough stars hidden in the levels. One of the items direct you to stars locations, but you sacrifice a handy item in its place. This game was perfect for the time it was released. Some fans are split between this season, but I think this is one of the best. There are many ways that Jay can die, from traps, from alerted enemies, projectiles, so the best course of action is to be stealthy. It incentivizes you to actually be a ninja. And there is an in-game progression system for achievements and save data slots that shows how much focus and depth was actually put into this game. It shines in the abundance of Ninjago games and has so much quality content on display, for free I might add. On Jay's journey, he can free each of the ninjas from their prisons inside Nadokon's sword, which doesn't make sense for the story of the show, but we can give it the benefit of a doubt here since there has to be some kind of progression system going on. It's still good nonetheless. Once Nia is saved, the two make a plan to invade Nadokon's Djinjago, his own realm in the islands in the sky that lives solely on his power, with an attempt to use the Tiger Widow's venom to defeat him. The next area is a little trickier, but has more boss fights and one that made my game crash twice. I was about to give up, but this time it worked and I was so happy. If you'd like to see a full video on this entire game in detail, let me know and I will be so happy to dive into it. After 30 stars are unlocked, the final battle begins atop Nadokon's ship and you can free Zane, Wu, Kai from the Jin Blade. This was the most fun I had in this entire game, especially this random minigame in the middle of levels to collect more studs. But bro, this last area was so annoying. The cannonballs and confusing platforming was making me go crazy. The final level is the Jin's ultimate defeat, and Ninjago Island is saved. This is done fairly simply, but Nadokon will spray and pray like it's a COD lobby, so you hide away from him and be patient to attack. And there you go, the best game in the series is finished. You can click off this video now. No, wait, please stay, I need to eat food, and my personal second favourite is coming up very soon, so don't go just yet. Now, advancing forward into the next season of Ninjago, one has split fans' opinions since its release. It's mostly regarded as one of the worst seasons in the golden age of Ninjago for having a confusing and lack of sense in its story. A lot goes unexplained, and despite starting on a high, it ends on a very low low. Even though it has high ratings, it just does not make sense to fans. Swamp Arena is another German title where Kai is the solo main character fighting the Hands of Time, Acronics and Crooks in a swamp kingdom. There are 2 modes in total consisting of many levels, and each level consists of an arena with obstacles, traps, power-ups, as well as strong enemies that ramp up in strength and numbers quickly. To counter the enemy forces, the most special part of the gameplay is the ability to rewind time, halt time and jump forward in time in battle to defeat enemies before they can attack you. Some enemies are armoured up to the max and is really difficult to win. It doesn't have much going for it, and being German, there's not much detail I can go into. I don't know German, but it has the bones to be something special. And those bones were used greatly in one of the best sequels in this entire video, using the same engine as Swamp Arena and a spiritual successor, except now with more refined gameplay and an extra twist. This one is, wait, you guessed it, another German title, but it's called Tournament of the Brave, and I got a little addicted. This game is an online PvP brawler style game where you compete against other real players to see who can rack up the most points. Points are gained for every hit on an opponent, and bonus points for kills granted. Everyone starts with a shuriken that deals low damage but can activate traps across its multiple maps that shoot arrows, deploy spikes and drop foes to their death. Health pods are scattered around, and each match is 90 seconds long. A total of 6 players per lobby can compete with a large character roster. There's the 6 ninjas, Master Wu, Dareth, Ronin, Samurai X and many more to unlock from getting better at the game and racking up points. I might honestly make my own separate video for this title since it really stuck with me. Let me know if you'd like to see it. 2017 saw the biggest shift in Ninjago's history, with the release of a blockbuster movie that changed everything. The series was never the same since then, for good and for bad. The good being the movie was decent, I enjoyed it thoroughly. The bad being the entire series was changed to suit the style of the movie and instead of keeping its own separate identity. And part of pushing this new style would be an abundance of cheap quality minigames. Slop is the correct word. These following games across 2017 and 2018 were all to promote the movie, and I rank all of these very low on my list of Ninjago games, so I'm going to try to make them sound as cool as possible, but spoiler alert, they're really boring, so let's fly through them. Target practice. You're in Ninjago City and it's under attack by Garmadon's forces. You need to charge your bow and shoot them in time before they escape. But beware, they can mingle in civilians, so make sure you shoot correctly. The villains have different worths of points based on their strength. Shoot them all before they conquer the city and you climb to a higher level. Nia versus the Shark Army. Shark warriors have invaded Ninjago City and are all coming from all directions. Attack them in the right way just as they reach close to Nia. Charge a special power and unleash an attack that wipes the screen of enemies, and right at the end, fight Garmadon. Whack-a-Shark. This one's okay, not because of the game itself, simply because it's whack-a-mole, but Ninjago. Cole uses a hammer to whack sharks that pop their head out of the holes and get as many points as you can before the timer runs out. But sometimes Sensei Wu will appear, and if you hit him, you may receive a penalty. Spinjitzu Slash, not to be confused with Spinjitzu Smash. This is the much worse Spinjitzu Slash. Much like Whack-a-Shark, this game is only decent because of the game it's copying. This is Fruit Ninja, which is a fun game. Now in Ninjago, instead of slicing fruit, you're slicing different foods and drinks as Lloyd, apparently cleaning out Lloyd's refrigerator, but honestly why does he have this much food in his fridge? But apparently it's a stepping stone to becoming a Spinjitzu master. You can level up by earning points to unlock more food to higher points, and sometimes Lloyd will throw in a token in the air. If you slash it you lose a life. Flight of a Ninja. You use the power of Jay's ninja launcher in Flight of a Ninja. You've got to fly as far as you can using air jumps that max at 3, but if you're lucky you can pick up an extra jump mid-air. Just go as far as you can. Kai Chi. Have you ever played Simon Says? Well, now you have. Kai will show you certain patterns and you have to copy them to win. But the game tells you this is how to achieve the ultimate state of fearlessness by playing Kai Chi. Super Awesome Digital Activity Book. Something a little different from the Ninjago movie is the Super Awesome Digital Activity Book, and by the name you can guess exactly what it is, a Super Awesome Digital Activity Book. The kind you can buy in bookstores, except there's less here, and I'd rather pay for an activity book than play this. There's a few activities like colouring the team of ninjas or Garmadon's army, helping guide each ninjas through a maze, or searching through ninjas in a large crowd. I guess it's something a 7-year-old might stumble across and really enjoy. After all, activity books aren't exactly targeted for me. And that's it for 2017 and 2018. But even through the next few years, Ninjago games were never the same as they once was. Over time, as the series became more popular, less and less effort was put into these games, which was what made part of being a Ninjago fan feel so immersive. There's still a few to get through, and not all of them are bad, so stick around to see the few that might surprise you. For a long while, there was nothing. 2019, despite airing Sons of Garmadon and regaining fans' love, 2019 was scarce in material, and I will be honest, some of the games from here on out I did struggle to place chronologically, so take the rest of these with a grain of salt in case I have misplaced them. Okay, now we are getting somewhere awesome. In this next title, we open up with this epic battle theme that instantly takes you away into another world, and you play as a dragon. It is another German title, so the story is lost to me, but this one I wanted to know so badly. And from what I can gather from the context of Season 9 as well, you play as Kai riding his elemental dragon in the Land of Dragons. There's a lot of strong evil enemies capturing dragons who often get in numbers to overwhelm you. Here your purpose is to free the trapped dragons. The green arrow will direct you to the places where the cages can be found. You will need to stay above the cage for as long as it takes to break it. This way you will free the dragon that is trapped within. It might seem easy, but while you stay above the cage you're left open to be attacked by your enemies. Once you've freed all the dragons from one level, you'll be rewarded with a few coins. Use these rewards to evolve your dragon and become even stronger than before, which is needed because the hitboxes in this game are so buggy and inconsistent. In this hack and slash arena type game, Return of the Oni stands as a brawler focusing purely on gameplay, and don't forget, it's German. But to be fair, this one can be fun, simple but fun. This one lets you play out the ending of Season 10, the golden age of Ninjago, with waves of Oni, the most dangerous creatures in all of the realms, attacking Ninjago and killing every citizen with plans to destroy it. The 6 ninjas must help defend the city. You can play as multiple ninjas in a survival based mode, and the Oni will try to attack you since you are Ninjago's sole protectors. Once you're defeated, nobody can stop them from taking over the realm. You must tap away to attack the Oni as they approach you, trying to knock down your health and use combos of attacks, charged attacks and special attacks to deter them away. The best part of the game is that you actually use and control Spinjitzu. It doesn't make sense how this feature has been so scarce when it's such a key part of the series, but I'm glad we can use it in such a fun way here. It's so helpful to reach a high score. The game tries to implement a story from the shots of the series, but it's not the worst title on the list. Yet again, we are here to learn German, because at this point of so many German games, we may as well learn the damn language. Ninjago in No Man's Land. Right away, this title makes me think it will be something fun, and not another slopfest. It's even really smooth on mobile, and then I began attacking. It's very slow, it's very clunky, but the dungeon crawler-esque with RPG elements. I feel if this had longer production time, it could be a fully fledged game. It has all the groundwork and core elements to be something great, but was held back by its low budget and intention for just being just another web game. But this one stood out so much more compared to the other recent games, I wanted to give it a try. It was just a shame it's all in German, even the voice acting. The game features a hub area that acts as a home base where other characters will give you quests and side quests just like this one to collect wood and make a fire, and this one to collect wood and make a fire, and this one to collect wood and make a fire. However, the enemies here are scattered across forests, icy wilderness and hidden gardens, and sometimes you'll even fight an ice giant. This is set during the middle of Season 11, as Lloyd is exploring the Netherrealm on his own. I really feel like this game had the most potential, but because I don't speak German and there's nothing online discussing the game, I have to move on. I can feel myself turning German for real, it's killing me. The Big Race is another German title that's set in Ninjago Prime Empire. The ninjas have futuristic technology, advanced weapons and armor including vehicles at their disposal. Simply put, there's 4 players per race across 3 maps and 3 difficulties per map. When you play more, you unlock more vehicles totaling at 5 altogether for different corresponding characters. The controls are simple, left and right to turn. Forward to boost, back to slow. There's also 2 power-ups for speed boosts or shields. The maps are repetitive and the opponents aren't anything special, and you can also take them down by drifting into them. This game is as poor as the Prime Empire season. I might rattle some feathers with that one, but I'm currently watching it as I'm making this script, and I gotta tell you, it's the least interested I've been in the entire series. This one's a tiny bit better, but taking inspiration from the Big Race is Lloyd vs Garmadon's motorcycle gang. The overall core elements are replicated, but this title is a lot smoother, offering more intuitive controls and it's more satisfying. You have 3 speeds that indicate difficulty: Ultraviolet has stolen one of the Precious Oni masks and she wants to use it to bring Lord Garmadon back to life. Your job is to get it back to where it belongs before it is too late, and you do this by reaching the end before her. It may be short, but as a quick little game, it's one of the smoother titles out of this video, especially if you like racing. However, it does not go very deep and you're only limited to Lloyd this time. I'm placing this after the big race because it seems to use the mechanics of the big race, but overall more intuitive and smoother, even though the story of this game is set before. I am pleased to say that in this next title, I actually have something to say. At first seeming bland, but soon revealed a 4th dimensional wall break in its story. Prime Empire has a couple of main levels where you can play as Jay. You'll start as a lost ninja in an unfamiliar realm, fighting strange beings. This is the concept for Prime Empire, as Jay gets sucked into an addictive video game, and the ninjas soon follow him. There are traps everywhere, bridges that seem safe and that can collapse at any moment, rolling boulders can hurt you at any point. Soon, Jay will find Cole, and together they find a mysterious man who tells them they are inside of a video game. They must find 3 Keytanas to get back to Ninjago. The quest for the 3 Keytanas will take them to far places. Overall, there's a great natural ambience that feels calming. The soft instrumentals and flowing water creates a nice tone, but Jay is lost in a familiar place. But there is something menace afoot, and the OST captures this perfectly. Very Asian inspired and themed as a traditional arcade game, exploring the world by scrolling the screen side to side, solving puzzles and fighting multiple enemies at once. 2 things irritate me though. It is designed for left-handed gamers because you have to use the arrow keys and the mouse to play. And the second, right when the story picks up and you get invested into this game, it's just an ad to direct you to the Prime Empire season of Ninjago and it ends there. And honestly, I don't think it's a very good season. The next game, Keytana Quest, is a low-ranking entry on this list, consisting of 2 minigames in the pursuit of capturing Unigami. Starting off as either Jay or Kai, this first level is an endless runner-style mission to collect Keytanas within a time limit and not be hit by Unigami's forces along the way. Once you collect all 15, you advance onto the boss battle, entering the mech ship and pushing a battle against Unigami's entire armada. He has a large ship, but his army will attack you head on and quickly deplete your health. This is essentially a race to whoever can survive the longest. Can you take down Unigami's ship before his army takes down yours? Golden Legacy is a better collection of minigames which are somewhat fun. They may be short, but they give you more incentive to complete them. Each level has a total of 3 stars and hitting all of the requirements unlocks the Golden Legacy ninja suits. Some of these can be tricky. You play as Kai, Cole, Jay and Zane, battling a series of enemies in various minigames that do range quite a bit. This isn't groundbreaking, but better than some other minigames in this series. And it's one of the few games still available on the LEGO site, but there's not many and will ultimately be shut down eventually like the others. Now, we finally get to see the return of Master Chen, and this time the game is not that bad. Better than the previous Tournament of Element games earlier on in the video. This one is inspired by quite a few of the popular games and is part of a Ninjago Legacy series. Master Wu's enjoying his morning tea in the Temple of Air Jitsu and notices the tea tastes weird. It's Traveler's Tea, and he accidentally opened a portal to the Cursed Realm, and Master Chen jumps out escaping from his exile and a fierce battle between Chen and Wu begins. Chen's Staff of Elements begins to shine and absorb Sensei Wu's power. The other ninjas spot this, but it was too late. In desperation, they must get to Ninjago City and free Master Wu. And suddenly, the first Spinjitzu Master appears in front of him, offering help, by creating their golden weapons once again. He needs very rare golden artifacts in order to do this, and they're scattered across Crash Course Canyon, Jamenikai Jungle, Glacier Barrens, and Ninjago City, and the ninjas head out to retrieve the artifacts. Story-wise, this makes no sense whatsoever, and you may as well ignore it. Honestly, you'll enjoy it more if you ignore it. Now, the gameplay. It may be 10 years after Endless Runners peaked in popularity, but late is better than never, because this is a good Endless Runner style game, despite what the internet tries to say. This is simply good. It simply looks great. The clean stylized art style from the series is present and blends very well with the graphics. It has better graphics than the PS4 LEGO Ninjago movie game. Like, what? Having a story fused into the core elements of the gameplay gives this game more depth, making it differ from the other Endless Runners just like it. Sometimes events can occur during a run, and you collect studs and golden bricks too. You can also transform into each ninja's vehicles, but this put my PC into overtime and really made it lag, but they are still awesome. It's a feature that helps every character feel special. I have so much to praise about this game and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I nearly forgot to mention that enemies can sometimes try to come and attack you mid-run and it goes slow motion. And let me say again that these maps are actually just pretty. Overall, I'm impressed with this title. The 4 maps are also a great touch, giving some variety to the gameplay. The environment around you can change, it can either open up or close the lanes, making it feel larger or more claustrophobic, and that's what I mean about great variety gameplay in such a short period of time. I also like how when you finish the level you can see in the horizon Ninjago City, making this feel like one large journey rather than independent levels. And of course, you can use different ninjas across different maps. I rate this title fairly high on the entire list of games in this video, and what's crazy is the hate this game gets online. Other than my PC running slow at times, this was a good game, definitely underrated and overhated. Nonsensical story though, but we move past that. The final few games are all available on the current LEGO website to play for now, as of January 2026, but they too will one day be shut down, so let's get through them to the end of this video. Crystalized takes inspiration from the Endless Runners once again. However, despite looking cool and appealing, it's not as good as the other games it's similar to. Crystalized is very repetitive and short and mostly just boring. You move left to right avoiding enemies and collecting coins playing as the ninja. If you collect coins and get speed boosts, you can blast through the levels quicker. When you level up quite a lot, it can be fun, but the levels are short and the next one will get faster and faster and faster. But once you get hit just one single time, you restart and lose all of your progress. And that progress is nothing but the coins and your speed. And it's just so frustrating to start again from the very beginning. Ninja Unite is one of the shortest games in this whole video. I'm not even going to explain it. You do what you can see right here. Fortunately for the next game, Fear No Chaos has some more oomph to it. One that surprised me, essentially because all of the most recent Ninjago games have been so short and uninteresting, in my opinion. The Forbidden 5 have freed the evil Chaos Dragon, Thunderfang, and unless it can be captured, the merged lands are in danger. You open inside of Ninjago City, greeted by Lloyd, telling us to find the fine chains hidden across the city and the ninjas are at your disposal. Zane needs you to find 5 posters. Pixel takes you soaring through the sky riding a dragon to find one of the chains. For Nia, you save baby dragons from a rampaging tornado. You solve a mural puzzle for Sora. Kai needs you to free the dojo of enemies using Spinjitzu. And finally, Aaron has a stealth maze for you to complete. After all the chains are found, Zane will open up the portal to defeat the evil Chaos Dragon, and chaining each of its limbs up one by one before other enemies can break free. I made it sound short, but this game took me roughly 30 minutes and it actually made me feel like a kid again. It's hard to explain, this made me feel nostalgic like I was playing Spinjitzu Smash for the very first time. What Would a Ninja Do is a unique style of game where you create your own story. You, Sora and Aaron are in the middle of a gaming session at Ninja HQ and suddenly you spot, and you have a choice, the mechanic or wolf mask fighters, and the game goes on from there. Whichever options you choose dictates how the story goes, from what enemies do, what you do, where the enemies go, and the way it's ended. This genuinely was 30 seconds to a minute long at most, which is sort of really anticlimactic and a pretty poor way to end this video. So instead, here's my top 5 personal favourites. And number 1, I'm putting in SKYBOUND. And number 2, The Final Battle. Number 3, that awesome online game, I had so much fun with that. Number 4, the Spinjitzu Smash series. And number 5, Chen's Return. Now keep in mind it is possible I have missed something here. For example, Blood Moon Battle is a German title I didn't include in this video because I couldn't find a place to play it. So if I left one out, please keep that in mind and don't dislike the video because I forgot your favourite game. And keep in mind Ninjago is an ongoing series, so this video stands as a placeholder for its history as of January 2026 for its 15th anniversary exactly. Things may change in the future. Now, I did promise I'll show you all where to find these games. You can download the Flashpoint archive on your Mac or PC, which has almost all of these games available. But all of you might not want to download this or want to play them on your phone as well. So some are available on Flash-based sites, but again, not all of these games are available. So check out the description below where I've linked every single title I've discussed. There will be a link to the Flashpoint archive downloader and the link available for each and every game in the video. But also let me show you how to download the Flashpoint archive. So click on the link in the description or type this, scroll down to click download Flashpoint. For general use, click download Flashpoint 14 Infinity, or if it gets updated, just click that one. and not Ultimate unless that's something you want, and then once it's installed, enjoy. If you've watched this far, you are amazing and you should consider liking and subscribing because my next video will be diving into the history and importance of Ninjago's greatest character. If I missed any games, let me know below. This was an extremely large list and took a lot of surfing the web to collect these games together and the national exclusives, but I would truly appreciate for you to like and subscribe to show your support. So, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.